Welcome to the fifth video in this series where we're making a 2D racer in Unity. In this video we're going to set up collisions with the tracker edge and we'll make it a very basic edge detection that disables the car for a short while. Before we start the implementation of this, it's probably worth going through how we're going to do it because we have a little bit to do in this one in terms of classes and things. So the first step we'll take is actually by making a collision boundary around the edges of the track, and this is a little bit easier to say than it is actually to make in practice. So usually when you're dealing with collision detection or collisions in a game, you have something called collision shapes to do that, and in most cases those collision shapes are very straightforward. They're either some kind of rectangle or square or some kind of a capsule or circle. And at this point, especially if you're new to game development, it's probably worth mentioning that these rough collision shapes or rough approximations apply just as much to modern games as older games. If you go online and search hitboxes for modern games, you'll get a big surprise probably to see that most of the 3D characters and things you're looking at are surrounded by a big box or a big capsule and little else. And that's because collision detection is really performance intensive and generally it's kept as simple as possible. So usually you'll find collision detection done with a square or a circle or capsule, or if you do need something complex for some specific use case, you might build up some kind of polygon shape with straight edges like this. Now in our case it's quite tricky here. What we could try and do is place a load of capsules and squares inside and outside the track, but that's just going to become extremely difficult to set up and manage. The other thing we could do is draw a polygon shape inside the track, let's say, and fill that in, and then draw a polygon all the way around the outside of the track, which would be a little bit tricky to set up, but it would end up looking something like this. I guess we'd have to be careful with the join here and go back around the outside and make some kind of shape like this. That's also a little bit of a pain to set up, so I'll clear these lines. Another option is to make a polygon shape that actually fills the track, so something like this going all the way around the track. And when I was preparing this series, this was actually the version that I was going for, but it turned out with Unity to be quite difficult to get it to allow you to start inside the shape and then exit with a nice collision. It's really built for colliding into them and not out of them, and ended up jumping through too many complex hoops to get it to work. So we're going to go for a different approach. What we're going to go for is we're going to go for two what are known as edge colliders. So you'll see in the IDE, we're basically going to set up a load of points and straight lines will be drawn between those points, and we'll match those up more or less to the edges of the track. Now I say more or less deliberately there, as I did mention, collision shapes are generally quite rough to keep the maths easy for the computer to calculate, and the reality is even when you have relatively straight lines around the corner, you never notice it in the gameplay anyway. Then once we set our collision shapes up, we then need to deal with the collision with the edge itself. Now eventually we're going to have quite a nice bounce effect where basically we get bounced off the edge of the track, come back into the middle with some particles and things like that. That comes later on though. For this video I want to set up a very basic one to make sure the mechanics are working. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our car driving along, and then when we drive into the edge, detect the collision, spin the car 180 degrees and then make it sit there for a couple of seconds, and during those 2 seconds we will not be able to drive the car. So the logic hopefully clear. The question is how we're going to set it up inside our code. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of states which will simply be enumerated constants to our car core. We'll have a driving and a bouncing state. Then we'll update the player car movement, and there we'll say if we're not in the driving state, then we're simply going to return immediately from fixed update, which stops it then controlling the motor, or in other words disables our inputs. Then to handle the bouncing, we're going to add a new component called a CarBounce. That will have a hit boundary function on it, which will be public, so it can be called from elsewhere. And when that gets called, it'll get hold of the car core and switch the state into bouncing. Then inside its fixed update, similar to the player car movement, except the opposite, if we're not in the bouncing state, then it's simply going to return immediately. If we are in the bouncing state, it's actually simply just going to force it to sit there still for 2 seconds. And then finally, last but not least, we'll make a track component. We'll add that to our track, and that'll have the trigger enter 2D on it. And if something does trigger it, it'll check if that thing has a car bounce component, and if it does, it will invoke the hit boundary. In other words, we will hit the track, that will cause it to find the car bounce and invoke the hit boundary. The hit boundary will change the state to bouncing, which will disable the movement, will enable the update here. And as you'll see, we'll put a little bit of a hand-coded timer for a couple of seconds in there, and when that runs out, it'll switch the car core state back to driving, and the player car movement will start working again. That's the idea anyway. So back in the idea then, let's go and add our edge colliders to our track. So we'll select the track, and then click Add Component on the right, type EDGE, and you should find the Edge Collider 2D. So I'll select that. When you add that, you see nothing in the screen here, but you should see in the toolbox on the left-hand side here, this little geometry editor here. If we click this, you should see a very faint green line. Now the green line here is clashing quite badly with the background and also the edges of the track we're about to draw. So before we go ahead and manipulate this, let's darken all of this a little bit. So we'll select the background here, go to the color on the sprite renderer, and this circle up here, I'm going to drag this all the way down to make this really dark. So we can still see that something's there, but we can actually then see our edge collider. Then with the track image, actually do the same thing. So get hold of this and just drag this down. So we can still see the outline of the track here, but we'll be able to see the edge collider much easier. Now we can select the track, then select the collider editor here, yeah, and the green line is much more visible. So the way the edge collider works, it's quite straightforward actually. You simply set up some points and it draws straight lines between those points. The only thing you have to be careful of is not to overlap the edges on themselves. You'll know if that happens because it'll go red and tell you it's not able to evaluate the collisions. On the right hand side, if you unhide the points here, you can see we've already got 2 points, and those are these 2 points where my mouse is hovering. So the first point is the one on the left here, and the second point is the one on the right. It's worth noting or keeping track of which your first point is, because what we're going to do when we set our final point is actually take the values from the first point, set that as the final point to join everything up exactly. Right now though, what we need to do is actually lay our points out. So the way you do this is pretty straightforward. If I left click and drag and say put this point here, and then left click and drag and put this one up here, if you hover over the middle of the line, we get this little square where we can left click and add points. So I'm going to add and drag and just put this down here, add and drag, and basically make some edges around the track. And as I said, don't worry too much about collision accuracy here. It's really not noticeable playing it, and all games do it this way. The simpler, the better for the computer as far as collision is concerned, and with a fast game, the player never notices it anyway. So with that edge made there, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now it gets a little bit trickier. I'm going to drag this one down here, and then drag the lines out like this. And then with that done, do the same process for this here. So I'll probably drag, you can see it went red there with the overlapping collision. So I'll drag this one to here, and then drag this all the way down here, and this to here. And then this point, I'm actually going to drag this right out here. This collision on here can be a little bit tricky later on in the game, but I think that'll be okay. We'll put this in here like this. And now we can nearly finish this up. So I'm going to drag this one all the way up to here, but making sure not to overlap where it goes red like this, but put this up somewhere here, and then put in the other points inside this one as well. Okay, that nearly completes the collision shape. This one's too close to the edge of the track down there. That's better. Now let's deal with the joining up here. So this point here is actually the first point in the list. If you look at the points here, as I'm dragging this around, that is the first point. What we're going to do is join the last point up to the first point here. To do that then, I'm going to right click next to the first point and do copy, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list, right click here and paste, and that should join them up nicely there. Cool. All right, let's have a look at that. I'll put another one in there. And yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. We don't want to punish the player too much. And yeah, that looks all right as well. So that's one of the edge colliders done, although that one's a little bit close, so I'll move that. What we need to do is do the outside edge collider as well. So I'll scroll up here and minimize the points and minimize this. Let's add another component, another edge collider 2D. Again, with the collider editor selected, I'm going to drag this up here and drag this one maybe to here. So it's easy to join them along the end here. And then really it's a matter of doing the same thing as we've just done. So what I'm actually going to do is speed this up so you don't have to watch me fumble around with this all the time. And then we can set our second edge collider, and I'll be right back when it comes to joining the points up at the top here. Okay then, so that's the edge collider drawn here. Just going to take a quick look at the points here and drag this one. I think this is the first point, if I can drag it anyway. Yes, it is. So I'm going to move that to here, zoom in a little bit as well, then right click and copy that one, go all the way down to the bottom here to the final point and paste, and that joins those up. So we now have our edge colliders. So next up, we need to set collision on the car as well. We should do that really on the prefab. So let me first of all minimize this because we don't need those. Let's then select this car here, the little arrow, to go to the prefab. And we can add a component to our car here. And we're going to add a rigid body 2D. And we don't want real physics here, so we'll change this to kinematic. We're going to manage the position and everything ourselves. Then we can minimize this, add another component, and that's going to be a capsule collider 2D. Again, we get the edge collider on here. We can click on this to see the edge collider. And now it's actually in the wrong orientation for us here. So what we can do is down in the direction here, just change this to horizontal. And now we should be able to drag the handles down and fit those quite nicely to the car, I think, like this. We should be a little bit generous here, not too picky really, otherwise the gameplay won't look too good with colliding and things like that. I think that's all right, so I'll do Control-S to save that. Now we can go back into the game by clicking the arrow on the top left here, and we should have on all of these now the collisions. Yes, we do. We've got the capsule collider and the rigid body. So these will now be able to collide with these edge colliders. Well, they would be able to if I'd remembered triggers, actually. Let's go back to the track here. Did I remember triggers? No, we need to turn on triggers, otherwise it's not going to detect it. So that is trigger, and also the first one is trigger as well. Well done, Richard. So I'll do Control-S to save. And then finally in the IDE, let's set up the physics collision. So what collides with what? We're going to have quite a bit going on in the game by the time we've done it. So it's a good idea probably to be disciplined with this now. So on the top right here, you can see the layer. These are the physics collision layers. Let's click the add layer here, and we'll call the first one here track edge. And then we can call this one car. Okay, and then go to edit, and we'll go to project settings, and then down the left hand side there's the physics 2D here. If you select the physics 2D, you'll see the matrix of what can collide with what. Let's disable all of these, and then we want the track edge colliding with the car. That's the only one we need for now, so we can close that down. I'll do Control-S to save. Now we should be able to do collision detection. So let's select our track on the left hand side, and I was going to add a script actually via here, but I'd like to make a folder for this as well actually. So let's go into scripts here, Let's right click, create and folder, and call this track. And then inside this folder, then we can right click, create and scripting and mono behavior script, and we'll call this track. Unity will whir away as it ever does. And what we'll do now is set up just the detection of the collision before doing the bounce. So let's select the track then here, and then we can go to add component, TRA should find our track, Control S to save, and we can double click on the track. And inside the track, we can get rid of all of this for now. We can add things back in if we need them later on. And what I'd like to do simply here is log that we've got an on trigger enter. We'll deal with the bounce hitting us and things like that later on, but let's make sure that we're actually getting the collision detection working. So back to the IDE, and then back in the IDE, we can see if we can collide with the edge of the track, except I've just realized we set up the layers, or I set up the layers and forgot actually then to assign them correctly. So with the track on the right hand side here, let's go to layer and set that to track edge. That's asking here if we want to do the children. We don't really need to actually, we'll just say no, this object only. And then let's go to our car prefab as well here. And with the car selected here on the layer on the right hand side, car, and we can say no, this object only, it's just simply the car we want. Then let's go back. We should be able to run this now, and hopefully we'll see something in the console to say that we're colliding. So let's have a look. Go to the console here, and then we can drive. We're going to get loads of movement output here, aren't we, actually? So what I'm going to do is put trigger in here in the filter. Okay, it's a little bit better. And now if we drive, excellent, cool. We're getting the collision detection. Good, that's really good. All right then, so let's close that down and go back to the project here. With that done, we can now set up our CarBounce component. So go back into the prefab for the car. Then we can click add component on the right hand side, and I'll go for a new script, and we'll call this one CarBounce, create an add, and that will go into assets, scripts and car. Then what we can do is open this up, and now we can start setting up the code that we store inside the slide. We'll start off in the car core, I think here. So in the car core, we'll add at the top an enumerator constant, which can be public, and that can be the states. At the moment we have the driving and the bouncing. Later on we'll have slipping and brace over and things like that. Then we'll set a property, which can be a public getter and a private setter on the car core to actually have the state. So later on, quite a few components will need to ask a car what kind of state it's in, but we'll make sure that the setter is private here so we can only modify it inside the car core class. And then we'll write ourselves a function down below the awake here, which is going to be public void change state. This will be invoked from other components when they need to tell the core to change its state into a given new state. The first thing we'll do here is check whether we're trying to change to the state that we're already in, which is unnecessary. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll set the state equal to the new state. Now this might look initially, as we have it here, a little bit unnecessary, but later on you'll see we'll have a little bit of logic for some of the other states in here, so we want to return unless we are actually changing our state. So let's go to our CarBounce then. Inside here we're going to need access to the car core. I think we already have an example of this on the player car movement, is that right? Oh no, that's the car motor, but we're going to need car core actually in this one anyway, because it's going to need the state. So we'll also do the car core here as well as a required component, and then we can set up a car core here, and then grab hold of it inside the awake here as well. And then let's scroll down, and what we can already do actually inside the fixed update here is prevent this doing anything unless the car core is actually in the correct state. So we'll say that if the core state is not driving, then we're going to return. So there's no update, so we're effectively disabling the player car movement input. Let's take this little bit of code here and do copy and go into the CarBounce and replace this because we're not going to need it. And here what we're looking for is the state bouncing. Now this doesn't have a core on here, so I'm going to be very naughty here and go all the way up to the top here and get hold of the car core and paste that at the top here. Then same process, we're going to get hold of the core here. And then finally, we'll use the awake as well. So I'm going to copy this and go back to CarBounce and paste this into here. Then we can delete the comment and we'll keep the motor because we're going to need the motor as well, because when we bounce, we're going to set the velocity to 0. So let's also have a require component for that one. And we'll set ourselves up with a motor. Okay, so we have our bounce not doing anything in fixed update if we're not in the bouncing state, and it's got hold of the motor and also the core. What we need now is this hit boundary function. So that'll be a public function, which you'll see will be invoked actually from the track script when that gets hold of the CarBounce component. And that will add a little bit of a guard into here with these collisions and things and so much going on in the game. We could sort of get double collisions when we don't want to. So we'll say that if we're already in a bouncing state, not to do what we're about to do because we're already bouncing around. Otherwise, for now, what we're going to do is get hold of our motor and we'll set the velocity to be equal to 0. So we've now stopped ourselves moving, and remember we can't control the movement to player car movement because that's now disabled because we're in the bouncing state. Then we get hold of the transform of the game object and we'll rotate this, and this will be 0f, 0f and 180f. So effectively turning ourselves to face the other way. Then we can also get hold of our core and change the state. So we'll say core change state and we'll go into car state bouncing. Now we'll come to the 2-second delay and things like that in a moment. I'd like to make sure that this bit is working, and to do that we need to make a modification to the track and the on trigger enter. So in here, now the trigger has been entered, what we need to do is see if there is a CarBounce component on what hit us, because if there isn't, then we don't need to do anything with bouncing. So the first thing we'll try and do is get a CarBounce component. If that component is null, then we'll simply return immediately. Otherwise what we can do is we can get hold of that bounce and we can invoke the hit boundary. And let's also take this debug log from here as well, go to the CarBounce. I'd like to make absolutely sure that we're hitting the boundary here. So we'll have the hit boundary. And I'll take the class name actually here and do this so we know what it is. And then go back to the track and actually do the same thing. Oh no, that says on trigger enter 2D, so we're all right. So we shouldn't need that. So we should see in the console when we hit the boundary, the CarBounce hit boundary, the motor should go to 0, so we stop moving, and it should basically turn around and face the other way. And we're never at the moment changing back into driving, so basically we should just lose complete control of the car. So back inside the IDE then, I'm going to come back out of the car prefab here and save things. Then we can run the application and hopefully now be able to drive into the edge and switch around. Yes, cool. And I've lost complete control, and I can see also we've got the hit boundary in the console. Excellent. All right then, so I'm going to close that down. And before we go back and do the remaining code, let's select the background actually and set this color back to a white color, and select the track image and also set this back as well. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. So I'll do Control S to save. So now let's release the car after a couple of seconds. To do this, we'll make a simple hard-coded clock. Effectively, we'll call this a bounce timer. Then whenever we actually hit the boundary and we change the state, we'll set this equal to 2F, which is going to be 2 seconds. Then down inside our fixed update, assuming we are bouncing, what we can do is subtract the time.fixedDelta time from our bounce timer. And then when the timer hits 0, what we can do is change the state back to driving, which should hopefully give us control again. And let's add a debug log actually into the car core for this. So in the change state here, let's add something here so we can see this. Now, before we run this, let's go back to player car movements with the inputs. Okay, I'd like to comment out these inputs here because they're sort of polluting the output a little bit. So we don't need those. Then on the left-hand side here, we have our game inputs inside here. Let's do this here as well. So it's just too much in the output. So that's better. Okay, I'm back in the IDE. I'm going to run this then. And hopefully now we're able to redrive once we've collided. So I'm going to drive to the edge of the track, turns around. Do I get control again? Yes, after a couple of seconds. Cool, that's all right. So each time it's been turned around, forced to wait a couple of seconds each time I collide. This one's going to be a little bit tricky. All right, excellent, cool. So we've got a very rudimentary collision working and sort of a loss of control. So I'll close that down. And we've done quite a lot now, and I think here is quite a good place to stop this particular video. We have made a really good step though. We have collision detection working, and we've actually got a very rudimentary bounce up and working as well. What we're going to do in the next video is actually get the bounce working properly with the particle effect and the jumping back into the middle of the track. So thanks very much for watching this one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.